The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is me again. I wanted to come on here to give you some of my thoughts as to the inauguration, which is 13 minutes away from taking place. Donald Trump has left Washington, D.C. as expected. He's not going to be at the inauguration of Joe Biden. Breaking a century and a half of tradition, but quite frankly, does anybody really care at this point? Here are my thoughts. Yes, there are a lot of people who are glad he's gone. The vast majority of Democrats and a significant part of the Republicans are glad he is gone, and a lot of independents as well. I'm not going to talk about his legacy and all that, because I think that we will find out later on as time progresses what his legacy is. I think it's very hard to talk about a president's legacy immediately after that president has left office. It's tempting for the media to kind of put it into perspective and all that, but historically speaking, you have to give at least 20 years before you can really start talking about a president's legacy. And from a historical perspective, more like 40 years. So it's kind of, it's one of those things that's like, do you consider the 2019 Kansas City Chiefs to be the greatest team of all time? You kind of have to give some perspective as time goes on. You can compare it to other teams and how those players played later on in their careers and such. And could they sustain the success over time? Or were they just a one-and-done deal where they had one good year and then regressed quickly? But my thoughts about Joe Biden are this. I'm glad he won. I think he'll do a decent job as president. I don't think he's going to really do anything earth-shatteringly great as president. I think he will be fair dinkum, as the Australians say. I'm not expecting miracles here. The American people want stability. They want to get rid of this pandemic. They want to feel like that things are in control again. That they can feel like they can control their lives again without this pandemic over them. And I think the biggest reason why Donald Trump lost the election was because of the way he handled the pandemic. Now, I think he should have lost it by significantly more. I think that the reason the margin wasn't as big as it should have been was there were a lot of people who bought into the same fear-mongering tactics that Republican strategists have been utilizing for 40-plus years now, instead of debating the issues. And one of these days, I'm really going to have to talk about my feelings about the fact that Republicans, when they do a campaign, generally avoid talking about the issues. Instead, they're always bashing their opponents. Democrats aren't necessarily entirely innocent of that either. But in general, you're going to hear more Democrats talking about policies, what they want to do, than Republicans. And Republicans generally tend to only talk about cutting taxes, only talk about abortion, and maybe gay rights, although I think that's kind of becoming less and less for the simple reason, I think, that they don't think they can win with it anymore. By the way, Joe Biden has taken the oath of office, although technically he does not become president until 12 noon Eastern time. That is about a little over 8 minutes to go now. And then he becomes president. I'm not expecting like some great age after a dark age like we've had. And when I mean by dark age, it's like, could you imagine 8 years ago or 12 years ago when Obama took office that people would be in such a frenzy? Now, I know some right-wingers were not happy about Obama winning the presidency. But this is different. Obama was a huge deal. That was the first African American to become president. This is just another white guy being president. Now, there are people who go, well, he's old. Will he serve a second term? I know pretty much he's not going to serve a second term. I mean, that's pretty much almost a given right now. He's not going to serve a second term. And even if his health was good, I think he probably wouldn't want to serve a second term anyway. This is stability. This is putting things back on an even keel. Now, aside from the pandemic stuff and the economic recovery package that's going to come, that we all know about, it's going to cost a lot of money, as if we haven't already spent a lot of money on this thing. He's not really going to rock the boat a lot. I think you may see some movement on health care. I think you may see, there are going to be some things that some right-wingers are going to go, oh my God, look how crazy it is. He's not going to do anything outwardly radical. That's just not in his nature. He is, by definition, not conservative, but a moderate Democrat with some liberal leanings and some conservative, basically middle of the road. Now, the interesting part comes 4 years from now. When we have another election, will Kamala Harris run then? Or will she decide to, she may, there is the realistic possibility that she could become president if Biden decides his health does not allow him to stay president, or he may have something come up health-wise, or let's face it, he could drop dead. I mean, he's up there. But the same risks were there for Donald Trump. So this isn't exactly, we had two 70-year-olds running for president of the United States this past year. And I really, really think that hopefully in the future we get back to the tradition of having late 40s, 50s, early 60s people run for president that have the youthful vitality to do the office. Now, the presidency, you don't necessarily have to be the most, oh my God, get up and go, blah, 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 hyper guy, like Mojo Rawley in WWE. But you have to have the intellectual ability to do the job. You have to have the ability to delegate to the right people, to have the sense of who you want who you want working for you in that office, to where you can trust them with the decisions because in the end, the buck stops for the president no matter what, whether or not he wants it or not. And it doesn't really matter. Because I really think that in the end, I think Biden will be considered a decent, he was all right president. He's going to get us through the pandemic, which he'll probably be remembered for. And presidents, he'll take credit for it because he's a politician. let's not forget one thing. Joe Biden's a politician. Let's not deify him. Let's not make him out to be something that he's not. He is a politician of the Democratic ilk. He will go for Democratic traditional establishment programs, blah, 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 blah. He's not going to shake the earth, okay? The next big election will be the earth shaker. Now, what happens then, we'll have to talk about another time, because I really want to think about that, because that's the really big one. Will he run again? I doubt it. There's always a possibility he does. His health may be really good. 4 years from now, he may decide, hey, I'll run again. But it'll be basically to where, hey, I'm going to run again, but if anything happens to be, we got Kamala Harris here, and it'll be more of a showcase for her than just for him. And sometime in the second term, he may decide to hand the ball over to her and let her run with it, you know. But here's the thing. There are a lot of Democrats right now who are celebrating Biden's victory. A lot of independents as well, maybe, and more than a few Republicans, from what I've gathered on Facebook and Twitter. Here's the thing. I'm not celebrating this. I'm happy that Trump's gone. Don't get me wrong. I've not been over the flat of him, but I'm not exactly ecstatic that Joe Biden's taking office either. It's more of a sigh of relief that it's someone that I can not have to worry about turning on the news and going, oh hell, what did he do this time? I expect that things will slowly start to simmer down. You're going to see, but it won't be easy. You're going to see some prosecutions. You're going to see some investigations, what Trump has been doing. You're going to see an investigation about right-wing militias and all this because of what happened 2 weeks ago today. It's going to happen. It has to happen. And it will be uncomfortable. This is going to be a very bumpy year, with the potential of being even worse than last year. But I think by the end of this year, we will be okay. And I think that the economy will start turning around. The pandemic will be slowly starting to go behind us. People will be back out and about, going out in crowds again. And there'll be that sense of accomplishment, whether fair or unfair, that we will have for beating this thing. Now, I will say this. We can't just jump on the bandwagon just yet and say, and by the way, let me give him, yep, he is now officially President of the United States. It's 12 o'clock. He is now officially President of the United States by the Constitution. So, hurrah, hurrah there. Okay. But, you know, here are some of the things I want to see. If I were president, first of all, you got to have lobbying reform. Period. That is, and we're not going to get it. You know, it's just going to be a different bunch of lobbyists going. They're going to have precedents in D.C. It always happens when there's a change of party and all this. If I had my druthers, I would have strict lobbying. Limitations. Everything has to be open. And if you hide any kind of lobbying, that is a felony on the federal level. Your ass goes to prison. Plus a big fine. Great. My thing's going to be delivered tomorrow. I was hoping for it today. Oh, I just had it pop up on there. I had something I had planned to be delivered today, and it turns out it's going to be delivered tomorrow. Well, I hadn't planned to be delivered today. It's just originally the thing said it was going to be delivered today. Now it's going to be delivered tomorrow. Dadgummit. Anyhow, I get back to the gist of my argument. We need a lot